Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Mad at you.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World is the best video game movie you'll ever see. It's actually based on a graphic novel that recently the last chapter had just published. It's a story of a boy played by Michael Cera who falls for a girl and has to defeat her 7 evil exes. And it's all presented as if it's a video game. He has to reach different levels, and the fights get progressively harder. And it's directed by Edgar Wright, who brought us Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. And it's an excellent movie.
Hey, what's up?
If we're gonna date, you may have to defeat my 7 evil exes.
You have 7 evil ex-boyfriends?
Bingo. Consider our fight begun.
And I have to fight, defeat your 7 evil exes?
Pretty much.
Prepare to die.
What?
What's up? How's life? He seems nice.
I want to take them apart.
We all have baggage.
Yeah, well, my baggage doesn't try and kill me every 5 minutes.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Next time, we don't date the girl with 11 evil ex-boyfriends.
7.
Oh, that's not that bad.
So there you go. A little different from Eat, Pray, Love. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
It's so kind of endlessly creative and delightful. Like, kind of everything about it. Like, the way that it's not just a video game movie, but it's a comic book movie as well. And because at first there's things like the phone rings and it says ring coming out, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna have to see that like every single time? But you start to get into this whole world of how it works and the way the transitions work. And I think one thing that's great about it is every single supporting role in it is terrific and distinct. The jokes come really, really fast because there's obviously tons and tons of visual jokes, but the dialogue is very funny. The performances are really good. You'll hear it over and over. It's not like any other movie that you've seen. It's kind of hard to describe and do justice to exactly what it's doing and how. But when you look at the idea of a guy having to defeat his girlfriend's, ex-boyfriends, that's like a basic teen romantic comedy. Like just that idea, but then you add all this other stuff to it, and it becomes this epic. And you see that the guys who made it, with Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, they're great at twisting genres. And in terms of just a teen romantic comedy, this is like the biggest twisting of the genre that you could ever see. Is make this gigantic epic, where sword fighting and Michael Cera doing martial arts. I think that kind of says it all.
And you love this. I already know you're popping out of your skin
I
to
love
talk
it.
about
No,
this.
it's a great movie. You're dead on with the genre mixing, Jonathan. It's the way I kind of think about it. The best way I can describe it to somebody is, it's the hip hop dance remix of a classic love song, right? It's kind of taking a decent love story, which works, and it's a great character arc for Scott, for Michael Cera's character. You actually see him grow as a person. That's what's great, is amidst all of the insanity that's going on in this movie, and there is a lot of insanity happening. It really is. Like we said about Avatar, you've never seen anything like this. There's all kinds of craziness going on the screen. But it's all on top of what is actually a nice little love story. If it was an empty story, I'd be down on it. But it's all icing on the cake. And I really liked it. I'm right there with you. The dialogue's great. The effects are really fun. The music is good. He says in the trailer, I have a band and we suck. Actually, no, they don't.
They're really
right?
good, actually.
Beck wrote the music, so it's good music. It's a rock and roll video game comic book movie, and I can't say enough about it. I think it's a fantastic movie. Now, I will say, before I'm going to let you get in here, because I'm being very rude.
Sorry.
There is a generational gap about this movie, and as I'm
That's
reading reviews,
that's what I'm looking forward to hearing.
As
about
I'm reading reviews, it's
generational
80% on the tomato meter. It's certified fresh, but not to be cutting with broad strokes, and mixing metaphors, but. The older critics aren't liking it, and I think that if you're not a video gamer, if you don't have any sense of video games at all, or comic book movies, stay away from this.
I don't know. I fear that, like, numerically, I am probably going to be on the old critic side of that line. I'm almost 38, so I guess I'm considered old.
Whatever, I'm older than you.
Right. Oh, that's true, you are, huh? And then a friend of mine who was there is 39, and he was geeking out so hard. It's like, it's the best movie I've ever seen depicting what a video game is like. And so maybe 40. 40 is the over-under.
I actually think 45 is probably the over-under.
Because, yeah, you probably played Pong if you're 45.
Right. You know, but there's references to Zelda, there's references to Final Fantasy, there's all kinds of, you know, references to various fighting games, and they're really great. But I think that, you know, again, I think the story works. The story would work even without this, right? I mean,
definitely.
All of the effects, all of the insanity is part of driving the story. But at its core, it's this nice little love story where a character learns something about himself.
Well, the story, and you mentioned the supporting cast, which is excellent, and they really kind of steal it off from Michael Cera, who is, like, once again, you know, quiet, nerdy, hoodie-clad, but he's smart, and there's probably something else to him there, but he's a little too awkward to let his full self shine through. I'm tired of that guy. I love George Michael Bluth. I love him in Superbad.
I went into this...
Who else can he be? Is there anybody else in him?
And I will say I went into this actually not excited about the movie because I was thinking the same thing, like, oh, I'm over Michael Cera doing his little nebbish thing. Like, enough. But there's something, like, you actually get to see him be a little tough in this. Like, he actually gets serious.
Well, there's also the other aspect of his character that I think that doesn't come across in the trailer is that he's not necessarily the best, nicest guy ever. That he has there's this aspect of his character where he gets in these relationships and they kind of end for weird reason.
Kind of a jerk.
He doesn't really take them seriously. He's known as a guy who kind of screws up relationships with nice girls. And and obviously when the Ramona Flowers character comes along, that's sort of when he falls the hardest. But and actually awarded full Asian points, the Knives Chau character, who I played by Ellen Wong, who I thought was very good.
She's
and actually,
so cute.
she actually has a cool kind of arc to her that
Right.
happens that I wasn't expecting because I was worried like, oh, she's going to be like some silly Asian character. But the way that the way her character kind of comes around at the end, I thought was very good.
Today's What the Flick is brought to you by the word arc. But yeah, the Knives character is adorable. She's sort of like sweetly kind of pathetic and fawning over him, but she gets a spine too.
Well, like she grows up as well, you know. I mean, I think that even though Michael Cera's character is supposed to be 22, you know, technically an adult, but I mean, it is a coming of age story
Right.
in the end, in a relationship story, in a video game, massive fighting challenge comic book movie. Right. So,
But all those little video game flourishes to me aren't nearly as effective as you say, the story itself, the dialogue. And the movie has great energy, but after the first couple fights, you realize, okay, we're going to see the point totals accumulating at the top of the screen 7 times, well 6, because there's a set of twins simultaneously. Right. But it's like, I think it gets tiresome pretty quickly, and that's not nearly as interesting to me as, you know, his friends and the people in the band with him. Like, I love Alison Pill as the drummer in his band.
Oh, she was great.
Yeah, but the writing and just the energy. I loved Hot Fuzz. I mean, Shaun of the Dead was on my top 10 list that year. I love that movie. And I think his films have this great capability of looking at the absurdity in just normal, like, suburbia.
Right.
And
and he can, and Edgar Wright can spoof a genre and still make an effective genre piece.
And that's what Shaun of the Dead is. It starts out making fun of zombie movies and becomes a very serious and very faithful and powerful zombie movie. So I liked it a lot. I thought all the little tricks weren't nearly as powerful for me as the cast and the acting.
yeah, I mean, I think with the cast being so good, it just gives the sense of really a world. You step into this world in Toronto, which is great to set the movie in Toronto, but also feeling Kieran Culkin, who's
really
terrific
good.
as
Steals every one of his scenes.
as his best friend, gay friend and roommate, and looks very much to me like I mean, I think it's coming out sort of as a young star. I think in this one that hopefully we'll get some more roles.
All right, so we like this apparently. Let's do some math now. Matt?
I give it a 9.
Okay.
It's not perfect. I will admit it's got its problems, but I give it a 9.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I give it an 8.8, and I'm really looking forward to the generational rift with it. I think that if you're older, you'll just see it as it's just too crazy and loud and stuff like that. But if you're younger, you're like, oh, but it perfectly captures the arcade game and comic book feel.
I'm giving it a 7. I'm low. I'm giving Eat, Pray, Love and Scott Pilgrim both a 7, but for different reasons. So
They're basically the same movie.
They are very similar with more point totals as she's eating pasta on the top of the screen. I'm So yeah, I'm low. We give it an 8.3 here. That's our average. It's a pretty resounding endorsement from us. So it's a pretty good week, a surprisingly good week. Next week, kind of random, we're doing The Switch and Lottery Ticket. Yes, it's the end of August. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.